For this video, I'm going to show you how to make a key for your motorcycle when you've lost your keys. The method I'm going to show you doesn't require any special knowledge or any special tools. It will work for most motorcycles. If your bike uses a regular style key, something similar to this with cuts on the outer edge, then the method I'm going to show you will work. You're going to need to remove the ignition lock from your bike. We need to disassemble the ignition lock to get to the lock cylinder, and that's probably going to stop a lot of people from doing this because it's not always easy to disassemble these. Sometimes they will hide pins that you need to know where their location is beforehand to drill a hole to get to them. Sometimes they will stick a wafer at the end of the lock cylinder, and you need to get in there and lift the wafer up to pull the cylinder out. But I just don't have time in this video to talk about all the different methods that they use, and I don't have examples to show you, so I'm just going to concentrate on this lock here. This lock is off a Honda motorcycle, and I don't remember the model or the year. This lock has been disassembled before. The disassembly required drilling holes next to pins so that you could remove the pins. So this lock has been pre-drilled. So to disassemble this lock, you would need a drill and a drill bit, which has already been done, but the other tools that you will need is a small ball peen hammer or something to lightly tap with. You're going to need snap ring pliers. Going to need a pick, not a lock pick, but a pointy pick. You're going to need a file to file a key, and the file I'm using is called a Pippin file. It's spelled P-I-P-P-I-N. And you're going to need a fresh key blank to file to make the cuts for your lock. Alright, so to disassemble this lock to get to the lock cylinder, first thing we need to do is remove this plastic cover, which just clips into place. And then this is our lock cylinder right here, and you can see where these pins, there's 3 pins in this outer shell holding this lock cylinder in place, and you can see where a hole has been drilled next to the pin, and there's one there, one there, and one there. And the way that you remove them is first you drill a hole, but you don't want to drill too far because you don't want to damage the cylinder, but just drill far enough so you can take your pick and get next to the pin and force it out. Doesn't have to come out all the way, but something similar to that, and then do that for each one. And then once you have those pins far enough out, you can remove the cylinder. Always be careful because you never know when the cylinder could come out and you could drop the wafers. But then you can set this, the body of this and this electrical switch aside, and then take this spring out. And then there's this piece. And then on the back here there is a snap ring, so we need to use the snap ring pliers to get that off. Come on. We'll lift that off and set it aside. Then we can push the cylinder out. You want to be real careful not to lose the wafers. And the wafers are these things right here. Sorry, I'm on the other side of the camera and I'm kind of looking, everything is upside down to me in this viewfinder. But there's the wafers. And then that's the piece we want, is this lock cylinder. Alright, so now that we have the cylinder out and we have access to the wafers, we can make a key for this lock. All these wafers, there's 6 wafers in the ignition lock, and they're all spring loaded, and the spring is right under here, here, and here, and then for the other side here, here, and here, just in case you lose a wafer and you have to reassemble everything. You can see that this lock has 6 wafers, and the method I'm going to show you for making a key will also work in the helmet lock and the gas tank lock, and it's actually easier to disassemble the helmet and the gas tank lock than it is the ignition lock. But the problem is the gas tank lock and the helmet lock will usually have less than the number of wafers in the ignition lock. So for example, for the helmet lock there might only be 4 or 5 wafers. So if I make a key to work with a helmet lock and then I try and stick it into the ignition lock, it's not going to work because I didn't account for the 2 extra wafers. So that's why I said to always start with the ignition lock. Unless you know for sure that all your locks on your bike have the same number of wafers, then you can use one of the easier locks to disassemble. But that's usually not the case. And you can also see when I insert the key. Also on motorcycle locks, usually one side of the key operates all the wafers. So when I insert the key into this cylinder, you see it pushes all the wafers down, and they pop up on the outer side here. So this side of the key is operating all these wafers, and our objective is to file the key so that these wafers are flush with this lock cylinder. And you can already see that there are 3 wafers, 1, 2, 3 that are already flush with the cylinder, so we don't need to file the key for these flush wafers. But we do need to file the key for this one, and this one, and that's what I will do next. Alright, to start filing this key, we need to know where to file, and I'm going to pick one side of the key. Let's take this side, and if you look at this area of the blade where the key cuts go, you can see how smooth it is. See, there's no real marks. There's marks, but there's no wafer marks on it. So you take your key, the side you choose to work with, whichever side, insert it into the lock, and I'm going to start working with this wafer right here. And to mark the key, I'm going to take my, hopefully I don't hit the camera, I'm going to take my ball peen hammer and I'm going to lightly tap that wafer down to mark the key. Hopefully that was enough. I'm going to take the key out, and if you look at the key again, you can see that mark right there that the wafer made. That's where you want to start filing. And the distance you need to file down is the same amount of distance you need to drop this wafer so that it's flush with this outer cylinder. So, so you don't overfile. If you do overfile, just make sure you have another blank to work with. So you see our mark, and then I'm going to take my file. It's hard to do this through the viewfinder. I'm going to take my file. Hold on a sec. What I do is hold the mark near the end of my thumb, and then start my file. And start filing. And then file a little bit, and then check it. And you can see how far my wafers dropped, a lot. So I still need to file. And you can still see that it's still not flush yet. So let's file a little more. And I'm still above the diameter of the cylinder. A little more. Close, but not quite yet. This will focus. Just a little bit more. That's pretty close. I might be able to stop there, but I'm going to go a little bit more. And I think that's about it. I'm going to stop right there. I can always make adjustments later on. So that's how you file the key, and then you want to repeat that process for this wafer and this wafer. And then normally I wouldn't be standing over my lock filing the key and getting brass shavings everywhere, but I have to for this video. But I'm not going to cut the rest of these on the video because it's just too time consuming. I want to make this video as short as possible. But so I've already pre-cut a key here, and you can see how it moves all those wafers flush with the cylinder. And also at some point during your filing, you can see how these sharp edges developed. This one you don't have to worry about because it's the farthest one closest to the shoulder of the key. But this will make, once you start filing this key and get more cuts in here and you have these sharp shoulders, it's going to make the key hard to insert and remove from the cylinder. So you want to kind of take the edge off, kind of like I did here, so it's kind of rounded, and that will make it easier to insert and remove the lock cylinder. So next we'll reassemble this lock and show you how it functions when it's all together. I forgot to mention that when you disassemble this thing, sometimes it's better to take a picture of everything so you know how everything goes back together again. So let's start to reassemble this lock. Let's see, this goes in here like this, and this goes here, and then our snap. I had to grab another set of snap ring pliers because my other ones weren't grabbing the snap ring well enough. Put this back on. Make sure that it goes into the groove. Like that. And we can put this back on. And this goes in here. And let me just make sure it turns and everything. Okay. And then this piece only goes in one way because it's notched right here. And now we can tap these pins back in. And then put the cover back on, and then you can see on, off, lock. That locks the steering. And there you go. And now you can either use the key like this, but it's not considered a convenience key anymore because it will only work one way. So you can either, when you're filing this key, you can file both sides if you want, or you can take this key to your local locksmith shop and have them duplicate this cut to both sides of another key, so you'll have a key with cuts on each side. So that's it. Thanks for watching.